G'day guys and welcome back to Supercoach with DR. Now for today's video I've had a few requests lately to give an update on what my current team looks like, so I'll do that today. I'll also talk about some of my ins and outs and the reasons why I've left a couple of players out, why I've brought a couple of players in, and then I'll also have a quick look at how this team's going to look during the bye rounds and look at my bye structure very quickly as well. So we'll get straight into it. The defenders, we've got Daniel, Houston, Doherty, Robertson, Hill, and Gould currently on field, with De Koning and Rivers on the bench. In the midfield, we've got Jack McRae, Lachie Neale, Josh Kelly, Paddy Cripps, Josh Dunkley, Matty Rao, Ned McHenry, Marlon Pickett, Vital, Bianco, Williams. Two big boys, G&G, Gawn and Grundy in the rucks with Comben there. And in the forwards, I've gone a little bit lighter. I've gone Whitfield, Martin, Smith, Flanders, Cockatoo, Rankin on field, and Hosey and Skinner as bench options there. So, a few things, I suppose. Look, when it comes to structure, I've had a bit of a play around with everything. I've gone, really deep in the forwards. I even had Smith, F4, F5, with Stephen and Heaney also in there. I've gone lighter in the midfield at times with 4 premiums, even running Oliver at M4 for a little short period of time. With the backs, I've had Sicily in and out. I've had Laird in and out of there. But look, at the moment, I'm pretty happy. I suppose my biggest concern is that forward line there, but I'll explain in a minute when we look properly at the ins and outs. And mind you, when I talk about the ins and outs, it's only the changes I've made since the original video that I posted here. In between, there's been so many changes I've almost lost count. But yeah, we're just looking at the changes that I've made in between those two videos then to now. But as you can see, yeah, pretty light in premium options in the forward line, but that's just because I just don't like anyone else, really. And with news of Heaney being injured and Stephen as well, I'm not taking the chance at this stage. We'll see if they play in the pre-season competition and see how they fare there if they do. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried at the moment that Heaney might have lost a little bit of his touch. Obviously with the broken thumb, I don't think it'll affect his fitness too much. But yeah, will he be a little bit rusty when he starts handling the ball properly again? Yeah, maybe. I'm not too sure. So at this stage, I'm not really taking the risk there. So yeah, structure-wise, I did revert back to a 5 premium midfield. It just looked better having the 5th premium mid over, sort of a Heaney Walters type, because the extra money that you pay, I think, will balance out in points. And the arguments against that, I suppose, is that usually we have some really reliable and solid midfield rookie options. But I think if you look at the ones I've got there, Flanders, Cockatoo and Rankin, particularly the on-field ones, I think they'll all be reliable scorers and have reliable job security as well. So yeah, you've always got to take that into consideration. So yeah, I'll go into now the exact ins and outs that I've made since video 1 to the current side now. Alright, so let's have a quick look at the team changes. So looking at it at first glance, it doesn't look like I've done a lot in regards to premiums, and I probably haven't, to be quite honest. But the two major ins, I suppose, are Houston in the back line, McRae in the mids, and the outs are Sicily and Fife. So price-wise, it's basically a straight swap when you look at them as a pair. The rationale is I looked at the side, and without, I didn't have McRae, and I thought, I've got to get this guy in. And I sort of slapped myself in the face and thought, what are you doing? He's almost a must-have. We know what he's done over the last couple of years. And at the end of the day, you've just got to pay up for him. I think I was being a little bit tight. So, as you know, I love Fife as a pick. I've said that many times. But his durability is a bit of a concern, and I wasn't willing to let go of Dunkley, Cripps, or Neale. So that's the reason why I've got, why I suppose Fife left the side in preference of McRae. Houston over Sicily. Well, first of all, you're saving about 25 grand. I still love Sicily as a pick and think it'd be a really solid selection, don't get me wrong. And I'll certainly, look, I might even start with him, who knows. But Houston, lots of people have said that, look, he could be just another Andy McGrath. There was high hopes of him, more midfield time. Scores will boost. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, it didn't happen with Andy McGrath. But with Dan Houston, I look at the evidence in front of me. I look at the research that I've done, people that I've spoken to about him that are, pretty close with Port. And I just see lots of positives with the Houston pick. I think he's got a heap of potential. He's got that DPP swing as well. So yeah, I'm taking the risk with him. And in saying that, I don't think it's going to be a huge risk because I don't think Houston can go really, really wrong, to be honest. Robertson in and Stephen out. So it's obviously not a direct swap. Robertson being in the defence, Stephen as mid forward. But you'll notice that I've actually bolded 4 players from each side here. Robertson, McHenry, Cockatoo, Flanders on the left on the ins, and on the outs, Stephen North, Cahill and Marnie. So the reason why I've done that is you've got to look at it rather than, a straight swap, Robertson in, Stephen out. That may look like a bad swap of players because many of us would probably think that Stephen has a high potential. But you've got to look at it as a package. One of my main concerns was the fact that lots of the rookies that I had in the team, I didn't think or I wasn't too confident that they'd actually be starting in the round 1 sides for their respective teams. So I got a little bit concerned and thought I'd better address this rookie situation nice and early and now have a play around with some of those high-priced rookies so I'm not scrambling for money at the end and forcing myself to trade premiums or a premium even down to a mid-pricer for that matter. So Cockatoo and Flanders, huge fans of. I think they'll both have great job security. Look, if Cockatoo's got his body right, I think he'll play most games during the season. I think it was, well, it must have been on SEN because that's what I listened to on the way to work. And Danger was talking, I think it might have been to Gazza and Tim in the mornings there. And they asked him the question, how's John going to get better? Because obviously Tim Kelly's out now, gone over to WA. And Cockatoo's the man that he mentioned. And I think he's having a good pre-season. And if fit, he plays Cockatoo. I think it's as simple as that. They love him down there at Geelong. So I think he'll be a terrific pick this year. And I've actually got Cockatoo and Flanders starting on field in my forward line because, as I said, I've only got Dev Smith at a F3 at the moment and I'm really not batting too deep there. But I like some of the options there along with Rankin, who hasn't left my side since the first day that the team picker opened. And McHenry, I've heard great things out of South Australia. As I said, North was just one of those 102k placeholders. So look at the other ones: Bytel, Hosey, Skinner, in for likes of McGuinness, McLennan, Worrell. Again, I think they're all upgrades on those players. Skinner, I'm not too sure of, but he booted 3 goals, pulled down a heap of contested marks in the Pracky match down at Tassie for the Lions, and I think there'll be probably 2 out of the Big O, McStay and Skinner, to start in round 1. So I think it just depends on how their pre-seasons are looking with those blokes there. All right, quick look at the buy structure. So I really am taking the buys into account, particularly after I've made my buy structure video. So at the moment, I've got a 4-5-5 split, and that's actually counting Robertson and Smith as potential keepers. So I've included them in my premium buy structure. So as you can see, 4-5-5, as I said, I'm really happy with a 4-5-5 split. I never want to go over 6 players or 6 premiums coming into the buys on each line. And look, we don't know who we're going to get into our sides during the season. I know that. But if I start this, at least I can minimise, getting 7 or 8 players out during the buys on the one line. What does concern me is you can see in round 14, although there is the only 5 players, I do have 3 mids there in McRae, Dunkley and Kelly. But I suppose the good thing is about having those out in round 14. Maybe in round 14, I could actually get in a premium from either round 12 or 13, such as, possibly a Danger or an Oliver, if I don't end up starting with him, or a Fife. He's got his buy in round 13. So there's certainly options up my sleeve to sort of cover some of those big midfield losses in round 14. So at the moment, looking pretty good. I have flirted with starting with Oliver over Kelly, so that would give me a 4-6-4 split rather than the 4-5-5. The good thing is, I suppose I'd have him playing in round 14 over Kelly that wouldn't be, so there wouldn't be as much midfield pressure during the buys in round 14. But yeah, really, really happy at the moment with a 4-5-5 split. You can't really get much better than that. So that's the current version of the side, guys. Let me know what you think. As I said, some things I'm happy with, other things I'm not. I am a bit worried about that forward line there with Smith at F3, but as I said, I explained a little bit of the method to the madness there. I'll have to see how he's going during the pre-season series. Look, is it going to be realistic going into the season with 5 midfielders over 630k. Yeah, I'm not too sure if that's going to be realistic or not. I may have overspent there, so a little bit concerned about that. Again, may need to address that option and look, even get possibly an Oliver in there because I think he's really good value and look to invest somewhere else. But again, guys, thanks for watching. I am working on a few player reviews currently as we speak, and I'll get those out as soon as I can. But hope the planning's going well. Good to see you again, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers, bye.